Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Fire Force Chapter 240. When we last left our heroes, all the pillars disappeared, leading Victor to finally figure out that Iris is the 8th pillar. He told the rest of the crew that. Meanwhile, Arrow showed up to deliver some more exposition, explaining that all of the pillars were in Adola, and leading Vulcan to the realization that the final battle for the Cataclysm would be at Amaterasu. And so now Company 8 and Arrow are now going to Amaterasu to try one last-ditch effort to stop the Cataclysm. So, all that being said, let's jump right on into Chapter 240, At the Center of the World. We have this cool 2-page color spread of really all of our generation, as it calls it. Dare to be cool, our generation. It's Shinra, Arthur, Juggernaut, Ogun, Kareen, and Tamaki, all in like street clothes. It's just a kind of a nice spread. But then we get the actual cover with 3 candles is our picture with like butterflies around them. Amidst the darkness, ruinous insects fly to the flames. Chapter 240, At the Center of the World. Important to note here is that insects have constantly been tied to Adola since the beginning of the series. So, let's see if that has anything to do with anything. But we open somewhere, like, looking out onto Tokyo. Amid the darkness, after last chapter's blackout, Company 8 rushes to Amaterasu. Can they stop their foe's plan before it starts? And so we see Ogun like flying on his skateboard, and he looks down and he sees the Company 8 matchbox. Wait, that's... and he sees the 8 on it. It's Company 8's matchbox? And as Company 8 is like, racing down the street, Ogun goes to like fly next to them. What's with the rush? We've got an emergency, Hinawa tells him. And Arthur, like, pops out the hatch. Ogun, we're headed for Amaterasu, and you're coming with. Arthur is just so matter-of-fact. And Ogun stares at him for a moment. How can I turn down an invitation like that? And so they continue racing down the street. We see signs leading leading towards Amaterasu. And Vulcan looks around. We're getting close. Looks like this place is riddled with infernals. And Hinawa responds, we have to lead them to the other companies. And so Ogun is now sitting on top of the matchbox, chatting with Arthur. Did you see how many infernals are coming this way? Yeah, there's so many. And Ogun turns to Arthur, and whatever you're doing is more important than putting them to rest? What is it? The White-Clads are making for my castle of Camelot. Arthur, be serious. I get that you can't, because that's your entire thing. Anyway, Arrow, though, inside the matchbox, elaborates. The White-Clads are moving for Amaterasu to complete the final stage of the Cataclysm. And Arthur, I guess, seeing Amaterasu. At last, my castle. And we see it's a full 2-page spread dedicated to just the silhouette of Amaterasu in the night. As like the little itty-bitty matchbox slowly drives up to it. I'm kind of confused why just this shot got 2 whole pages dedicated to it. But it's a neat shot. And so they finally they park and get out of the car. Alright, move out. Looks like we've arrived first. That's Obi. And Arrow tells them, they'll be here. They still need to insert the key. Victor is like freaking out, like grinning, not like panic, but like in excitement. The mystery of the white arrows in the Chinese peninsula. I might finally get an answer. Oh yeah, we kind of have just been sitting with that for like 2 or 3 years now. Since that, like, if it weren't for the anime, I probably would have forgotten about the white arrows. But yeah, that was somehow tied into the Woman in Black's being imprisoned in the tabernacle. I think it was at least implied to be. And we'll find out what the deal is with Pi. And Victor just, like, looks up at Amaterasu. Like, squints at it. And Arthur walks up to him. Your ancestors constructed this castle, right, Vulcan? Yep. There's no way Amaterasu's a tool of destruction. One thing I do really appreciate that I never really talked about before is like Arthur and Vulcan's relationship. Specifically how Vulcan instantly like always plays along with Arthur's delusions. um, here like we saw it with Silbero, we saw it with the Hajima arc in the anime these past couple of weeks. Back when the Arthur's Adventure arc, and here in a more minor way, he's like instantly he knows he has to kind of play along with Arthur's world, and he's more than happy to do it. This is a really nice thing. But Obi comes over to him. We'll set up a defensive line out here. Vulcan, survey the interior. And Vulcan tells him, I've got my equipment in the matchbox. I hate to say it, but we don't have the manpower for an escort. You'll be infiltrating alone. But Vulcan tells him, nothing to worry about. I've got backup inbound. And just then, it's you and Lisa on a bicycle. Vol, we're here. And the two of them, stop. When's the last time we saw you? Has you done anything since fucking Vulcan's workshop? Good to see him. Yeah. And Vulcan cuts straight to the chase. Time's running out. We gotta move. And you asks him, what are we doing? We're finally going to see my ancestors' legacy. And with this really cool shot of him staring up at the blackened out Amaterasu. This just Amaterasu is such a cool, imposing figure. It makes, especially in the silhouette, it makes for some really cool shots that we're seeing in this chapter. And just then, a bunch of bright lights flash on Company 8. Obi squints, and these two cop-looking guys accost them. Hey, you! This area is strictly off limits. What do you think you're doing? And Obi tells them, we're here to inspect Amaterasu. And the cop looks at him. I wasn't informed about that. And Hinawa, just murmurs to Maki, Roger. And then the cop realizes who they are. Wait a minute, you're those traitors, Company 8. And then the two of them, Hinawa just knees one cop, and Maki, palms the other. You'll love to see it. It kind of brings to mind the scene where, in, the start of Company 5, when Maki punches that guy in the gut who was making fun of Obi. Just, the kind of bond the two of them have. The kind of, ease of communication there, just the simple Maki Roger. Also, I bring this thing up a lot, but it's not often we really see the ramifications of Company 8 being branded a traitor. Just because it doesn't. We normally spend time with people who are smart enough who know Company 8 enough and are smart enough to figure out that Company 8 are the good guys. But we see here there are consequences to the fact that they're traitors to the world at large. So yeah. Anyway, where was I? Yeah. So we got they knock the guy out. The two cops fall over, and Vulcan just tosses something at them. Sorry about this. Spider net. And it covers the guys in spider webs. And they're just trapped there. And Ogun, in total shock, having never really seen Company 8 as a unit before. Hey, is this how you guys always handle things? And Tamaki just totally done with this. They're usually not this brazen about it, but yep, pretty much. And Vulcan, gets the group's attention back to work. There's only one way inside. If you're going to lay a defensive line, it should be near the entrance. And we see, the big door in front of Amaterasu. And Obi turns to him. Vulcan, I'll be fine. Lisa, you, let's move. Right. I'm kind of shocked that Victor's not going with them, given that Victor, has this kind of scientific knowledge, he specifically says he wants answers to the white arrows earlier in the chapter, and also Victor can't fight. If there's someone, if you want someone just to, be in the room to give a different perspective than what Vulcan can give, Victor seems like the guy to send in there. But Victor, speaking of, asks Obi, Captain, what's your plan? Meet them head on. Have you considered ambushing them? But Obi counters, an ambush is a high risk of failure. The core of this battle will be keeping them away from Amaterasu. If they get inside, it's over. And so Victor realizes, so you're going for direct conflict. That's right. Since we've been branded traitors, you've been holding back, slinking around. But today we're going all out. The world's at stake. So they're setting up that there has been some consequences to the whole being branded traitors thing, but it doesn't really feel like that happened too much. But still, they have definitely been, like, hanging out in Asakusa really ever since Obi's rescue, for the most part. Anyway, Hinawa says, Arrow and I will open fire the moment we have eyes on the enemy. For another callback that I keep bringing up different callbacks this chapter, another callback is, the contrast of Hinawa and Arrow's first encounter in the Nether being, like, the highlight of the Nether, of one of the highlights of the Nether arc, to now, they're on the same side, and that's gonna be fun to see. And Maki, responds, if they manage to push in, Tamaki and I will attack. Tamaki chimes in, we'll use our mobility to disrupt the enemy forces. And Ogun just kind of smiles. Arthur and I will focus on hunting the big shots. And Arthur lets out a heh. And then we see an image of Iris and Shinra. It seems to be Tamaki's. We're going to stop the cataclysm and bring Iris and Kusakabe back. And just then, Arthur seems to notice something, and he just says with a little grin, it's time. And there is Charon and Ritsu, ready for the conflict, ready for the fight. Here we go. And Charon just kind of grunts, the Fire Force? What are they doing here? This wasn't in the plan. And Ritsu shoots him down, but it was a foreseeable circumstance. Do not comment on every trivial matter. We have all the pawns we need. And we see Ritsu has brought an army of Infernals with her. Even, like, far more than she used for the Nataku Infernal back in Haijima. Okay. And Arthur then says, he's here too. And we see Dragon. This is the front line on the war for the world. Formidable enemies have come to Amaterasu when a battle of life or death begins. To be continued in chapter 241, The Guardian's Path. And then we have our a color version of the Charon and Ritsu panel, with a little message, Fire Force is entering its climax, and we are determined to color the coming chapters, but we are looking for more peeps to help out. If you're interested or have any questions, DM us at FireForceColor on Twitter. If anyone wants to do that, go for it. I'm all for that. Okay. Anyway, on to the chapter itself. This is great. This is some hype-ass shit. First thing I love in this chapter is Arthur just dragging Ogun onto the final battle. Like, Ogun was just kind of, I guess, looking around, seeing if there's anything he could do to help, and then he just finds Company 8, and Arthur is like, alright, you're with us now. And Ogun's like, yeah, I guess. Ogun, just in general, has some great faces in this chapter. He has that one on page 5, after they beat up the cops. He has this great scene. Is this how you guys always handle things? And just total shock. As Tamaki also has a great face about, like, yeah, we always do this. It's just really great. Anyway, moving on. We then have, the promise of answers to things we never really got answers for in the past, as Victor brings up the white arrows from China, also Pi in the near future. We get Lisa and Yu coming back. Lisa, has been around, specifically in Obi's rescue, but Yu I don't think has really done anything since, like I said, Vulcan's workshop, back in chapter 60-something. So anyway, Vulcan's gonna go down there and do some investigating. I do think Licht should go with him, just because, like I said, Licht cannot fight, but he is, like, an investigator, so he could help there. Um, but, you know, I guess he's gonna do something with the White-Clads. I just really don't see what Victor can do in, like, a fight, because the rest of Company 8 is there to fight, and that's it. But anyway, we get this great Maki and Hinawa moment as they knock out the cops. And then it's finally time as Charon and Ritsu arrive. Ritsu with her army, Charon with his just sheer force of power, and also Dragon. So next time, the Guardian's Path, the first thing that comes to mind is Charon. Him being Charon and Ritsu are actually both protectors, so it could be about either one of them, but Charon's the one who's, like, made it his life. As we kind of saw in Hajime, you know, he is a protector, that's who he is. Whereas Ritsu's a little bit more laissez-faire about the whole thing. So I feel like next chapter will be fairly Charon-focused. Unless Guardian could be about someone else? Maybe the Fire Force guarding Amaterasu right now? I'm not sure. But yeah, the final battle is really starting here. The White-Clads want to get into Amaterasu, and the Fire Force have nothing left to do except do everything in their power to not let that happen. And I am super pumped for where this is going to go from here. So that's all I have to say for this video. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes you happy, you know? And remember, your life is your own, okay? Bye!